we are joined by the driver of number 20, Christopher Bell. We'll get right to questions for Christopher, and we'll start over here with Jeff.
Christopher, how do you process the last week for yourself? And looking back, do you still feel like you didn't make an illegal move on Sunday night?
Yeah, I mean, I think that I hate calling the last lap a move because it was not a move. My intentions were never to ride the wall. I didn't gain an advantage riding the wall. So it was not a move, and I don't believe that I broke the rule.
And how was the last week? Just processing everything that happened. You're not like this. What's that like?
I feel cheated. I feel cheated out of a chance to compete for a championship. Yeah, I mean, it all stems from what happened 15, 20 to go, whenever the race got fixed and manipulated by Chevrolet. That forced our hands to do what we did, and ultimately it forced me into a mistake on the last lap to get into the wall. And I feel like I should never have been in that position. Had the race been ran fairly, the 24 car would have lost enough spots to get me into the final race.
Go to Bob.
Bob Parker's Fox Sports. Do you feel like you should have been put into the Champ 4? Do you feel like that the Chevrolet, in addition to Chevrolets, that Byron should have been penalized?
I feel like I should be in the championship 4. Yes. After the race, so in the race when the manipulation happened, it was clear that I needed a position, and with the 23 dropping back, we got that position, and whenever we crossed the finish line, the 20 car was in. So with the cards that were dealt, the 20 car was in position to make the championship event, and we're not in it.
Go to Dustin.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. If you win on Sunday, would this be the most conflicted or worst feeling after a win for you?
Yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, no matter how it goes, you want to do well, and we're going to put our best foot forward to do well. But if we do well and have a successful weekend, then it's going to be, even more of a bummer and a disappointment. So yeah, it's a very perplexing feeling going into this weekend, and one that I hope that I never have again.
So what is the motivation at this point because of the conflicted feelings of winning, if that happens?
I mean, the motivation is simple. There's still a lot on the line, a lot of money on the line for sure, and we have partners that have paid to be on the 20 car for this race. So it just, the list goes on, right? And then we have whatever it is, 600 employees at Joe Gibbs Racing that put effort into this race car, and so it's unfair if I and my team don't put our best foot forward to try and do as well as we can. There's a lot on the line, and there should be more on the line.
Go up here to Lee.
Lee Spencer, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio and CatchFacts.com. I don't want to point the fingers at anybody. I just want clarification on this. At what point did you know what the point situation was, and did you make that move on your own, or were you just that desperate that you thought you needed the positions?
I was not aware of the point situation until the closing laps, and I was informed with probably 20 or 25 to go that the 24 was bleeding positions, and it appeared at that point that we were going to be fine and make it on points, and that was under the assumption. And then as the run continued, I actually got visuals on the 24 car and saw him backing the field up. And then it was probably 10 to go when I realized what was going on and that the 24 was indeed done bleeding positions. So I thought at that point that my race was over. And I didn't know that the 23 car was a point for me until the last lap. And I knew that I had to pass him. And, you know, I knew that I had to pass him, and I got by him, you know, going into turn 3, and unfortunately I slid into the wall.
Could you see the manipulation that was going on?
I could very clearly see the race manipulation and race fixing that was going on.
I know you well enough to know you're choosing your words very correctly because you don't speak out of school, but to say you felt cheated, I've got to think that this is going to hang on you for a long time.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, this has been one of the, you know, the hardest things that I've had to go through as a race car driver. And yeah, I mean, it's just, I believe cheated is the right word. And, you know, we go through sessions at the beginning of the year to make sure that we don't do this. And that unfortunately is what happened. And I was on the losing side of it.
Go to Kelly, then Jenna, then Jerry.
Kelly, CrandallRacer.com. Playing off of what Lee just asked, is it fair to say you have a chip on your shoulder, and how long is it going to be there?
I mean, yeah, I'm bummed and disappointed. So I guess I have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder, but you know, once it's just for this weekend, and that's one thing that I'm grateful of is it's not the round of 8, it's not the round of 12, so I don't have to go weeks after this. And, you know, as soon as Sunday's over, I can close the book and we can focus on 2025 and trying to, you know, be in a better position going into that championship race or the cutoff race at Martinsville. Yeah, I mean, I'm incredibly bummed that it came down to that. And, yeah.
There's supposed to be, I believe, the meeting between the drivers and NASCAR today where they want to deliver the message about what is and isn't acceptable going forward after what happened last weekend. Is there anything they can say that you want to hear, or is there anything you want to say to them, or is that just going to be more of an uncomfortable feeling of having to sit there and listen to what they're going to say?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question, but we all know, we all know how and if we are putting, you know, 100% effort into a race. And, you know, so if I don't know what the answer is, but something has to change to get us out of this, you know, box that we're in of manufacturer help and, you know, manipulating races to help guys who are in certain positions. It's just, it's not racing and it's not fair.
Jenna?
Jennifer, AP. Christopher, do you think then that will have an effect on the way that you guys race at Daytona and Talladega?
I don't envy the situation that we're in because, you know, the talking about team racing, that's been a staple of speedway racing for a long time. And I don't know what the answer is, especially whenever it comes to the super speedway races, but I don't have the answer for that, but it definitely happens a lot in those races as well. We saw the same thing at Talladega with the 5-car, you know, lifting coming into the tri-ovals. So, yeah, there's a lot of it that goes behind the scenes.
And NASCAR acknowledged that they considered suspending the drivers. Do you think that the drivers should have been suspended?
I don't think it's my place to speak on what should or shouldn't have happened in the penalties, but the penalties did not make right by me, who lost out on the actions that happened on the track.
Go to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires.net. Christopher, in most cases in a penalty situation or, you know, there's an appeal process. This was ruled as a safety issue, so there was no appeal. Do you feel like that's something that should be reviewed going forward?
I think that the rule language needs to be, you know, a little bit more clearly defined and less gray area. And yeah, I mean, I think it needs to be more clearly defined and less gray area.
We'll go to Davey and then Jeff.
Davey Siegel with Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. I just want to make sure I heard you right. You said that you go through sessions at the beginning of the year to kind of make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen as much as you can or are willing to. What do those sessions really entail, and what did those conversations kind of look like?
It's just about keeping the sport's integrity intact and not manipulating races to, change the outcome of the race. No, that's a NASCAR thing. It's not an OEM thing. It is a NASCAR thing.
We'll go Jeff, then Zach.
No worries if you haven't put any thought into this week, but format-wise, do you see any changes that could be made that would lessen the chances of this type of gamesmanship happening?
Yeah, I think that there are a lot of changes that could happen format-wise to help the way that the races play out, and I think that all of them need to be looked at and changes need to be made.
Any specific suggestions you want to offer?
I think that there needs to be a lot of thought that it gets put into what happens, but certainly I feel like the wins are. I don't know. I mean, the fact that we had 3 bottom-tiered winners in the round of 8 that led to, the championship 4 that we have today, it's just I don't know what the answer is, and I think a lot of thought needs to be put into it. But I do feel like changes need to be made.
Thank you.
What is Zach?
Zach Sterniolo, NASCAR.com. Christopher, how will you reflect on this 2024 season, where you as a driver and the team around you just seemed to really click, especially the second half of the season? Certainly last week is I don't know if a stain is the right word for it from your perspective, but how will you reflect on this season?
Yeah, finally a positive question. And it's, that this 2024 season has been the best in my career across all forms of the statistics, more top 10s, more top 5s, more laps led. And that's something that we tried to, emphasis going into 2024, coming off of our 2022, 2023 being in the championship race, but feeling like we haven't performed at our highest. And even leaving 2024, I feel like it's more of the same, where we left a lot on the table. Yeah, I'm happy and I'm pleased that I have set career highs for myself, and I am hopeful and optimistic that I can keep breaking those barriers and winning more races, leading more laps, winning more stages, more top 10s, more top 5s.
Go up to Holly here.
Holly Kane with the NASCAR Wire Service. Kind of following along with that, how do you guys handle this weekend? Do you and Adam talk to the team? How do you shift it from the disappointment to we have a great season going on, we still have this that we can accomplish?
Yeah, I mean, I at least from my standpoint, I'm not going to speak on the team, but for me, it's really easy, and it doesn't matter what my mental state is. Whenever I put the helmet on and get in the car, I have been able to, turn off everything that's going on around me and focus on the task at hand. And frankly, I look forward to that. Practice is very, or was fun. Practice was fun. I got to, get into my zone and drive a race car. Qualifying will be fun, and then the race will be fun. It's all of the stuff outside of the car where you're not in race car driver mode that's not fun and is heartbreaking and disappointment. So I look forward to putting my helmet on and getting out of the world, getting into my race car.
Go over here to Toby.
Christopher, you talk about how you feel like you were robbed of a championship 4 berth spot by race manipulation. In addition to your wall ride penalty, which was a safety infraction, the 23 was also flagged for race manipulation. So if there were extended penalties for the 24 team by benefiting, would they not have also extended to you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. But we should never have been in that spot in the first place, and that's what I go back to. If the race had been run fairly, there would have been no manipulation by either side, and that our hands were forced by hands of our other competitors, and yeah,